how do you look at Osseo as a community? I mean, it's a small town. I mean, you know a lot of people, and neighbors know neighbors, or they used to know more than, I mean, would act, would be
Okay.
together more than nowadays.
This town has some old-time flavor. It's different from the cities, the Maple Grove and Brooklyn Park that, holy buckets, it's all developed and, you know, you could go to the store out in Arbor Lakes there and you wouldn't meet anybody you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they feel very suburban.
Yeah.
And this
Right,
feels very small town.
right.
Yeah.
We're like what I'll call a family.
Mhm.
We really are. And so, I'm gonna tell you how much I miss that generation that I lived with for so many years that are gone. They were down-to-earth people that were doing their very best with limited assets. And, but it turned out that they did some great things that have made this town really what it is. It's very friendly. It's accessible to different businesses, and it tried to be made for the people to be comfortable in and safe.
That's a big
You know,
thing.
now, when we first moved here in '59, we never locked our doors. Well, things change. And so I do lock my doors now, and sometimes even during the daytime if I'm gonna say I'm gonna take a nap or something, and I just don't want somebody walking in on me. And we did have a couple of occasions where some guy came half tanked up to the back door and I'll use your phone, and I says, go across the street to the Holiday and they got a phone over there, you know.
Bathroom and a phone over there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But that's rare.
Yeah.
And so I feel that we're in a very safe thing. The improvements are all in. They've got a good working staff of people now. It wasn't just like two of us, you know, years ago. They got a nice building down there at the end of Broadway where they've got equipment galore.
Nice senior coordinator.
Oh,
That's right.
is that where you?
Yeah.
Anyway, they're doing a great job and they got all the equipment. You know what we had when I was working back there in '57, '58? We had an old 47 dump truck that wasn't even a full-size, Paul. And so in the fall, I'd go out to the pits out there and I'd get sand and stuff, and we made a pile over by by the high school or someplace
Okay.
there. We had, and then we'd go to Kemmenmuller and get salt, and then we'd have to shovel the salt and mix it
And
in
mix
with the
it?
sand.
Oh.
Okay, so then when winter came, and you know, Jim Seibert had this old 36 Chevrolet. Well, I'm sure if you got it out on the road, 30 miles an hour would be the fastest go, but he'd drive it, we'd go over there and we'd shovel this mixed sand and salt. And then I'd stand in the back in the box, and when we come to the intersections, you know, I'd have to
Throw it.
throw it all out. If OSHA heard about that now,
Oh, boy.
they'd shut the town down.
Yeah, they would.
The only equipment we had was that, and then there was a road grader that was kept up in the back of the old city hall that was torn down. And so when the snow came, we had a snow plow that we could put on the front of this 42nd Ford. And so all it would do, I could turn a valve and it would lift the bucket up and turn it down and to put it down. Jim Seibert would run the grader, and when we have a heavy snowstorm, I'd get like 4 or 5 in the morning and get that old pickup or that truck and start plowing this. You know, we have about 10 miles of roads and streets in this town.
And to get there, you had to walk through the snow too.
I didn't forget it.
I remember
But
that.
anyway, that's the way it was. And so we'd be working on that, and then after the big snowstorm, then they'd have a crew lined up that could remove the snow from Main Street during the night. And they'd have to hire some guys with some trucks, and they dumped it over there on this on the cemetery land there it's under that, you know, on the
northeast corner. I forget the name.
yeah, you can go through up Third Street, you
St.
can go in the
Vincent.
back there. Well, they that's where they would dump the snow then.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do with it now, but
They pile it up.
yeah.
Pile over here sometimes.
Boy, there's a big pile. They always went right up
By,
north.
yeah, by Biederman's. And,
Holy buckets! And so, but they got front end loaders.
yeah,
They
they got
got-
a lot of
they got-
equipment now.
We didn't even have a pickup truck. I'd have to take that old truck of Jim Seibert's down to someplace there to get a new broom for the
Sweeper.
the machine that cleaned the streets, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what we had, and of course the old city hall up there, which was built in 1919, and had a back shed. We could put the truck and the grader in there. That's all that was in there. Yeah, and then the upstairs of the old city hall, they never even used anything except for storage for maybe the Lions or somebody that had put their equipment and stuff up there for storage.
And what makes it really amazing is the population was basically the same as it is now.
Yes, yes. So, but the leaders were very frugal.
Victoria Joyner was, for sure.
Because they were, you know, close-knit community here, and so they kept the taxes down and didn't ever spend anything extra to hire more help or better equipment or anything else. Then they used to have to mow the Boardroom Park and the City Hall area and even the Memorial Park over there where the baseball diamond is.
Yeah,
Yeah, they finally did then get a used Cub
cadet.
tractor with a mower on it that, boy, I thought I was in heaven. Yeah, a piece of equipment that I didn't need to do everything by hand. In fact, when it snowed, we only had the one stall fire piece. It's off the city hall there. An old real
Real fire truck, you mean?
fire truck.
Yeah.
I'd have to shovel by hand that whole driveway because if they had a fire, you know, they had to be able to get out of there, you know. So that was part of.
You're busy.
See, now remember, I'm the sewer and water superintendent.
Yeah, you were a
That's
snow
not sewer or water.
you were a snow engineer
It's
too.
melted water, yeah, it's frozen water.
That was
right?
everything. What we were was two
Wear a
laborers.
lot of hats.
Right. And so maybe when I decided to go to college, that was the right thing to do.
Need a break.
So anyway, yeah.
So other than the Lions Day parade, and or festivities, I'm not sure when that started. Did
Okay.
Osseo have anything in Boardroom Park? You know, any
Festivals.
yearly festivals, get-togethers for the city?
Not really. Now, I have to go back to 1975 because that was the 100-year
100th,
thing, and they had a big deal then, a parade.
Humphrey.
And up by the bank there, they had that street blocked off, and they had carnivals up there. with,
Mhm.
you know, and then stands there that sold brats and pork
Mhm.
chops
Pork
and stuff, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Well, that went over really big.
Mhm.
So the next year happened to be our country's bicentennial, 1976.
Mhm.
So they expanded on that even from 75
Mhm.
with the parades and the carnivals and other displays and things all along the streets. People could have tables where they would sell merchandise and so forth. And so it caught on so much as that from then on, the Osseo Lions took it over. And so it started in 75, the bicentennial 76 built it even more, and so now it's been going on ever since.
Mhm. Okay.
For-
Are you a Lions member?
No, I never did join. I was asked to one time, and I tell you, I had so many things going on. I said, I just can't because I know it's going to take more time than
Another
I have
hat.
for
Yeah.
all these kids, you know, and
Literally.
stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And so I didn't, but I did join the North Hennepin Chamber of Commerce
Mhm.
and was on the board of that for several years, and which was good. And now and I did go to some of the businessmen's
Lunches that they have.
meetings, you know, uptown once in a while, especially during the time when we were going to have construction of Main Street, you know.
Mhm.
Those guys wanted to know personally what to expect, and I says, all I could tell you is from your front door to the guy across the street's front door, there's not going to be any concrete, or there's going to be dirt,
Mhm.
you know. And so I thought it turned out really well. And so that's, you know, the best we had for resources at that time. The guy that helped was a planner that I knew by the name of Bill Chapman, whose organization put together the Main Street design with the bump outs and the lighting and so forth.
Mhm.
And to make, I want to emphasize this more and more, is that to make it pedestrian friendly.
Mhm.
That was the purpose of it all. But we couldn't do that until Osseo gained control of Main Street. See, that's how that was. So then, of course, from the railroad track south that we call Jefferson Boulevard, now it goes, that was really County Road 18 back then.
Mhm.
So that was a county road. The highway was 152, 52. So we had highways, and so the city had really no control over the main roadways in the city.
Mhm.
And so we had to work with those departments in order to
County,
get things done, you know. And let me tell you, this wasn't one of their that's the Department of Transportation, you know, they wanted to get rid of this Main Street too, you know.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because they got rid of, well, even when it was first 4-lane, what is 169, it was 18, and then the county got rid of it because they didn't want
Yeah,
to deal with.
they didn't want to deal with it.
So they changed
No.
to
So
169.
then they could give it to the city then, you know. It's the pyramid thing.
Yeah.
MnDOT on top, then
Yeah.
the county, and then the cities
Mhm.
gets what's left over,
Yeah.
see? And so although they did have to contribute some money for the improvement of Central Avenue, so there was, and I can't remember even what the cost was or what the contribution was or not, but I can't remember everything.
Well, asking this selfishly, do you know much about the history of the clinic and tearing down the houses to build that area.
This clinic here in the corner?
The clinic right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
North Clinic.
Okay. That was a lumber yard
Oh.
right there. From this corner here down, and then on the end down there was Lightsky's
Linsky's gas station.
standard gas station, and his house was over on First Avenue. Now, that street used to go through, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and so,
And there's a house next to us and one just south of there. That's all I know is the two houses.
yeah, well, there was another one,
Well, the church.
even on the corner here,
Okay.
so there was really two houses
Yeah.
west of you, which was an old, I can't remember what the name of them was. Yeah, but Paul probably remembers.
I can't remember, well, the corner house was rented out a lot at the end, but the next house, the lady lived there a long time.
Yeah, the
can't
one
share.
house next to you was owned by Dick Hazen.
And that's the one that they burned down for
Yeah,
the fire station.
yeah,
for training.
Dick Hazen. In
Okay.
fact, he was not he'd come to the council meetings because he was referred to as the town's fire marshal.
Oh.
He was older and didn't go out to any calls or anything. The main guy with the fire department was Peter Fino.
Fino, yeah.
You know,
Right. Yeah.
And the
Long
Finos
history.
were very
Yep.
involved with the fire department.
Still are.
yeah, there.
And they,
Still
yeah,
are.
and also, they maintained the St. Vincent Cemetery. And I think one of their kids is still, Bob,
Bobby, yeah.
is still in charge of that.
Yeah.
In fact, when they built that over there, right next to the cemetery, those apartments, buildings there,
Mm-hmm.
and
West side.
when I was the engineer then, we put the street through and some drainage to the ditch over by the cemetery.
Yep.
And Peter said to me, hey, how about getting some water main over there? So I had the contractor run a 4-inch water main off it over into the cemetery. And I'm sure that the cost of it went into the project, and the cemetery didn't pay anything. Because those people over there are quiet, they
Yeah.
don't bother anybody, so why should they have to pay for some water?
Right,
Right.
Yeah, so anyway, that's how we did that.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so that's how the main source of their water in the cemetery is.